Today, I bring you what I suppose is the third installment in a week of tragedies on this channel. I present to you the legendary tier American battleship USS Ohio. We are running a brawling build on this battleship with Optimus Prime at the helm. So we're built for secondaries, and of course, we have 5 heals instead of the base 3. We're not really going to be able to make use of the secondaries in this battle, but we are going to have a really good game that probably would have been a little bit better had I been running a main gun build, but that's neither here nor there. We spawn between Alpha and Bravo on the Greece map, and so we are intending to go out on the Alpha flank to start things off. There's one destroyer on each team, which is not necessarily ideal. What we don't want to see, and this is going to sound crazy, I'm sure, to some of you, coming from somebody who is playing a battleship, but what we don't want to see is 0 destroyers in the game. And if we only have one, well, that destroyer is only going to be spotting one part of the map, which is part of the reason I think what happens in this game. We'll see as it goes on. For now, we've got the broadside of an Ibuki, which is a very squishy Japanese cruiser, of course, and as predicted, he does take quite a bit of damage, 22,000. Not quite enough for a dev strike, but that's okay. The Ibuki is basically crippled now, and there's not too much he can do. He certainly can't play aggressively in this match anymore. Alaska also traveling to the flank, giving a little bit of broadside, but because he's aware of our position, he is turning out, so we turn our attention back to Ibuki, who is potentially turning in. The dispersion on these shells, well, not great, and none of them managed to make contact, although our accuracy will get better if we're able to land another shot, because we are running the epic artillery plotting room in the 4th slot that gives you a 2% bonus to the accuracy for every 30,000 damage you do. Torpedoes coming in, but of course we are facing away from the source of these torpedoes. They come courtesy of the enemy Shimakaze, and one does happen to strike us right up the prop shaft, which, you know, it's uncomfortable. We use the DCP to stop the flood, and, well, we're just sort of sitting here wondering what we ought to do. We can't really push in. If you look at the Ibuki and Alaska out there, we've got them to one side. And then there's a large concentration of enemy ships sort of south of the Bravo cap, 2 cruisers and 2 battleships. That would be a lot of focus fire on the hull of the Ohio if we did try to push in. Not quite enough lead there to take out the Ibuki. And, by the way, we are 3 minutes into this match. Nobody has yet sunk, and that is at least a bit of a small miracle, but don't worry, the first sinking is coming soon. One more shot on the Ibuki, maybe? He's not dark anymore. Does look like he's going to be taken down. That AP salvo might actually reach him before ours does. Oh, whoever sent that at the Ibuki overshot, so does the AP take him out? No, not quite. One overpen, but Brisbane moving in to the Alpha cap from Bravo. We can see him there just behind the island, and he is giving broadside to our position. So if we turn a little bit, we are going to have all the guns on target as he comes around. He takes a big chunk from somebody else, and our salvo is the one that finishes him off for the first blood medal. So there's our first kill of the game, one of several going forward. We have secured the Alpha cap. Friendly team has secured Charlie as well, although maybe we spawn with that cap, so that's not quite accurate. And, well, we're in the process of securing Bravo. Enemy team has lost 1 cruiser. We have lost 0. Things are looking okay, at least at this moment. But don't worry, they're going to get a whole lot worse. In any case, since we've secured the Alpha cap and we've just got a no-health Ibuki and an Alaska sort of pushing toward it with 2 cruisers to fight against them, we're going to go over to the other side of the map where our guns might be a little bit more useful. Although in retrospect, I wonder if I should have stayed here and made more of an attempt to take out that Alaska, because my team is going to struggle with it. But we do have a broadside Yamato out there, so it's like, how are you going to resist that shot? Only 3 guns on target, though. Somebody did take out our 4th turret. It's back online now, but it's not quite on target. Damage against the Yamato, not too bad. No citadels, though. And the fourth turret is out as more Shimakaze torpedoes come in toward our Pommern, who looks like he is about to be the first casualty on the blue team. We'll see about that, though. Yamato still sailing in a straight line. If we aim properly, it's possible we'll be able to hit the cheek. But, these shells are floaty. At these kind of ranges, they do tend to come in almost vertically, so kind of unlikely. Not terrible damage against Yamato, to be sure, but not great damage either. Ohio goes down, by the way, from the final turret of Justice, and that's our second kill. Enemy team is down 3 ships. We are down 0. 638 points to 292. Things are going well, but we're about to witness a phenomenon in World of Warships Legends that is unfortunately all too common. You see, we did have 3 caps. The red cap, or the C cap, is turning red at this point, but we did start off this game 5 minutes in with 3 caps. And notice how forward all of my team is. We've got 2 cruisers in Bravo, one between Alpha and Bravo, another in Alpha, and then the destroyer is in Alpha. You might not think that these guys are overextended, but it's going to become clear soon that they are, because they're going to start dropping like flies. And this is a phenomenon that can happen in this game, where one team really aggressively pushes in at the start, manages to take all the objectives, maybe sinks a couple of ships, but because they're pushed in so far, it turns out they're actually overextended. And so the remaining enemy team is able to make rather easy work of them. That cruiser there going against the Alaska may, in fact, be the first casualty. We're going to need to shoot at that Alaska. He's exceptionally dangerous to our cruiser teammates with his 305mm guns and super heavy American AP. He does end up taking down the Napoli as the first casualty, and another cruiser follows suit. For some reason, the battleship right behind us, he is spotted. Perhaps he is not built into concealment. Perhaps he's shooting at the Alaska. He probably, he's close enough to the Alaska, I think, that his secondaries are actually firing, so that explains it. He probably should be trying to escape and heal some HP, but he's on such low HP for the push he took that I think he's going to go down as well. And, now we're down 3 ships. All of a sudden, the point situation isn't great. The enemy team is in Alpha, flipping it. That'll be the work of the Shimakaze, no doubt, so there's no way we can push toward the Alpha cap and take Shima torpedoes. We would like to take out this Alaska. The accuracy is not enough for us to do it, but we should be able to overmatch his armor scheme pretty much everywhere, so the damage should be good provided the shells land. And they sort of do, they sort of don't. But with the enemy team pushing in on this flank, I was coming over here because I was a little bit more concerned about it. There is nobody on this flank, and if the Yamato, Napoli, and whoever else is pushing out here manage to get a position, then they're going to have my broadside potentially, and they're going to be able to kill the rest of the cruisers. We've still got 2 cruisers, by the way, sitting in the Bravo cap, which unfortunately I think is probably the worst place they could possibly be. You can play a battleship in the center of the map, no doubt, because you have more armor and you can angle against the threats coming from either flank. The same can't really be said of a cruiser, and these cruisers are about to be surrounded. That Alaska over there has proved to be a formidable foe. He's still floating. And, the only thing between him and me and the rest of my team is that single Shimakaze, who, by the way, is going to do an excellent job in this game. The unfortunate thing is that the enemy Shimakaze is also going to do an excellent job. Not especially against us, of course. I think the only time we really see his torpedoes as any kind of threat was when that initial one struck us in the prop shaft. We're not going to see any more torpedoes again in this game that are going to be a threat to us whatsoever, because we recognize that the Shimakaze is in a particular area of the map, and because we are a battleship with not the best maneuverability when it comes to dodging torpedoes, we are not going to push into the source of those torpedoes, particularly when we've got 3 separate cruisers that can potentially deal with that. In any case, we're traveling still toward the Charlie cap, but we decide to go toward the spawn a little bit more because Yamato is sitting there. And if we take the line straight, we'll end up giving broadside to the Yamato, which we would like to avoid. We've gone dark, but the Napoli is spotted once more in Charlie. I was just trying to see if I could get shots on that Colbert, because potentially we could dev strike him in one salvo, which our team desperately needs. We've just gone under the 5-minute mark. The enemy team has over 700 points. We have 450 and no source of points income. Enemy team holds all of the caps except Bravo, which they are contesting. So they are accruing points from 2 caps. Those would be Delta and Charlie. Well, now 3 because they've secured Alpha. And we are securing 0 points from Bravo because the Yamato is inside contesting it. So hopefully we can take care of that as Yamato sails broadside past this island and we're able to sneak one single salvo through. That's all we need to take down the Yamato. There is 3 kills. And now that all the enemy battleships have been dealt with, we don't really have to worry about angling toward any particular part of the map. Even cruisers like Napoli, which have excellent AP, are probably not going to be lethal even if we're giving broadside. Speaking of broadside, take a look at the Napoli. That's a lot of freeboard there. Well, shells do hit. They do a citadel, not quite enough to take him out, but enough to cripple him and make him go behind the island. By the way, secondaries opening up for the very first time in this battle. We're finally making use of our secondary build, and we even get one single fire out of it. Des Moines out there on no HP. He's been spotted, which is excellent. If we lead the shot correctly, we should be able to take him out, which our team desperately needs. We are looking like we could potentially pull this one back from the brink, and there goes the Des Moines with a Pitadel. So that's 4 kills, and our Kraken is waiting for us right behind this island in the form of a low-health Napoli. So we'll continue forward, but take a look at the last known locations of the rest of the enemy team. We've got that Chad Alaska, who did such a great job on the Alpha Cap, in our spawn now in hot pursuit of one of our cruisers, who is running away, and I think is actually going to take down the Alaska. Then we've got Napoli here, who we should easily be able to finish off. We just don't really want him to torpedo us. Initial salvo there, not quite enough, but I think the secondaries end up helping us finish him off, or maybe that was our main guns, because we don't get the close quarters expert, but we do get the Kraken unleashed. The enemy destroyer, the Shimakaze, is spotted sort of in their spawn between Bravo and Delta. He's taken out one of our cruisers, which is quite unfortunate, a radar cruiser to boot to our friendly Alaska. And so now it's 3v2. Question is, can we sink both the Shimakaze and the other enemy cruiser before the game runs out? At this point, I'd love to turn around and get my guns on that final remaining enemy cruiser, but because of the geography on this map, I just can't seem to manage it. Oh, and it's a Zhao that is kiting that enemy cruiser and also launching torpedoes at him. So the Zhao is right in its element then. That's what it wants to do. It wants to kite. It wants to spam HE. This guy's using his torps. He's on low HP. That's an Alaska chasing him, so I can kind of understand why he wouldn't want to fire his guns and take a chance. To his credit, though, he is going to end up taking out the Alaska. And that's going to leave just the final enemy destroyer, the Shimakaze, who was last spotted somewhere to the south of Bravo. Unfortunately, our friendly Shimakaze has almost no HP left. Now, he's played a good game, no doubt about that. He'll have a decent score on the leaderboard. But with that little HP, it's likely he and the enemy Shima would spot each other simultaneously, and as soon as the enemy Shima gets sight of our Shima, well, our Shima is sunk, and then probably the enemy Shima smokes up and goes dark. Besides, there's less than 1 minute left to go. Maybe if we had more time, we could catch the Shima. We know where he is. He's obviously inside of the Bravo cap. It looks like he's even smoking up behind the island. So we try to send a couple of blind shots into that area in hopes that maybe one of them might tag the Shima. But with less than 30 seconds left to go, our Shima being on no HP, the only way we're going to win this is if he gets a lucky torpedo hit with that final volley there. And unfortunately, he's not. But the Chad Shimakaze on the red team is actually going to hit us with one more torpedo. So I guess I forgot earlier when I said we're never going to see the torpedoes again. We do eat one there, and the game ends with our tragic defeat. But we finish with a Kraken unleashed and over 22 base XP on the losing team. So imagine if this had been a win. This would have been great XP, and maybe we would have even been able to sink a couple more ships if things had been different. So I'm not going to complain too much about the loss. It was a good game, it was competitive right till the end, and we did make a good show of trying to turn it around. Just came up a little bit short, and sometimes that's how it goes. Hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.